We are counting you down to the 2024 Winter Classic in Seattle. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Seattle Kraken will be playing on that magnificent sheet of ice. Every year we marvel at this amazing event. We take you inside the numbers there. This is the 39th regular season outdoor game, and you see the other particulars there. The man responsible for all of this excitement and so many other great things in the National Hockey League joins us right now, the commissioner, Gary Bettman. We say the same thing to you every year. How did you guys do it again? You captured the spirit of Seattle.
This is the ultimate team effort, and as much credit as you were seeking to give me, it starts with our entire group, whether it's our events group under Steve Mayer or hockey operations. I mean, this is just the culmination of a lot of people doing a lot of hard work, and they continue to outdo themselves. It's just fantastic. By the way, Happy New Year.
Likewise.
Yes, Happy New Year to you as well. We got in here on Friday, and we got into this stadium, and the roof was on.
Yeah.
I was like, this still feels great. It still feels outside if it needed to be closed. That's not the case, clearly. Did that give you guys any kind of sigh of relief? We didn't really have to talk about weather so much this year because you had that insurance policy at the roof.
Actually, it did. We obviously prefer to be outdoors. Closing the roof wouldn't quite be the same, but in terms of the setup, it made life much easier because we weren't battling the elements in terms of wind and rain. This is Seattle. So this was actually perfect for us, and it's a great day.
Even while you're building the whole situation here, you could use that roof maybe to keep it.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, they kept it closed because we weren't battling the elements to do the setup, and most importantly, to make the ice, because rain, as you know, is a killer in terms of building up the ice.
Now, when you guys started doing this, I remember it was so exciting as a young fan. I was not in the league yet. I was watching. Did you guys ever
Boy,
imagine?
are you making me feel old?
Okay, settle down. You're young.
Come on, Boiler.
Give me a break.
He's like, I watched Rupper when I was 5 in the Winter Classic.
Go ahead.
That's funny.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you imagine it take on a life of its own, or has that just happened organically? Because it truly is a spectacle every year.
Well, when we did the first Winter Classic in Buffalo, we had a vision, but we didn't know exactly what to expect. And the fact that it was snowing and the snow globe effect and Sidney Crosby winning in the shootout, it was magical, and it captured everybody's imagination. And it was really a question of building on that. And this is, as you indicated on the stats, our 39th outdoor game. We have 2 more coming this season. Close to 2 million fans have attended these games. It's really, in some respects, the ultimate connection that a sport can have with its fans.
You have presided over unprecedented growth for this league, expansion teams. These are the most recent additions to the NHL. How satisfying is it for you to see just how effectively they've been inculcated into the league?
It's really more a question of growing the game and going to places where the game traditionally hasn't had a base to work off of. And what you see in all markets where we either have relocated a team or had an expansion team, hockey takes off at all levels of the game, especially for youth participation. And Vegas and Seattle have been sensational in really becoming a part of the community, both in terms of youth hockey and grassroots hockey, but also being active in the community, which our players and our teams do so well in terms of trying to make a difference in people's lives.
So, Gary, there's Hart is going to be performing tonight. Were you a Hart fan at all?
You know, back in my younger days, but they're Seattle originals. And again, it's part of reaching out and being part of the community that we're playing the games in. So clearly you were a Hart fan.
I liked Hart, but I want to know what would be, if this was around what you wanted, what would be your dream concert at the Winter Classic? Basically who you're a big fan of.
You know what, I'm a classic rock guy going back to the 60s and 70s. That's my mind candy when those songs come up. But again, we try and do something that to the extent we can, that's relevant in the place that we're playing the game.
I love that character of the city that you go into. Now, going back to what you're saying, you have Vegas here, you have Seattle here. There has to be cities around the country clamoring for another franchise. And as you said, as a fan of the game itself, I have sons that are going to come up and play youth hockey. It's really beneficial to me to live in the Boston area, and they have so much opportunity to play. I want that for more kids. You must hear it all the time. We want a team here, we want a team there. Is it growing because of the success that Seattle and Vegas have had?
I think it's growing because of how great the game is. And everything we do starts with the game. And the game's never been more skillful. It's never been faster. The competitive balance that we have is extraordinary, not just relative to anything in our history, but I think relative to the other three major sports. Our competitive balance, what happens in the regular season, every game matters. And we have the most extraordinary athletes playing our game. And I think that's what's building the game. Yes, we get expressions of interest from Quebec City and Atlanta and Houston and Salt Lake City. But it really starts with the fact that the game's in terrific shape, and it starts with what takes place on the ice.
On the topic of competitive balance, how significant Vegas's entrance to the league in that magical first season, how impactful was that?
Well, certainly if you're a fan of the Vegas Golden Knights, it was really
huge.
Impactful. And the fact is that Bill Foley's audacious prediction of a cup in 6 years, I mean, who does that and have it really come true? But you know what, and I get asked that question all the time. It matters most for the fans of that team and for that market. What we want is exciting, competitive seasons. Our playoffs are extraordinary. As you know, there's nothing like our first round, and anything can happen throughout the playoffs. And again, what happened last spring is validation of that vision.
So the Vegas team kind of set the bar, right? And then Seattle, last year, their run was fantastic. They had a little slow start this year, but they're right in the mix right now.
What are they, 6-0-2 in their last 8 games?
Sir.
I mean, how perfect is it?
And Vegas, what are they, 5-5 in the last 10? But every team, particularly one that's coming off a really long, tiring season, is going to go through those peaks and valleys. But that's what makes the season great.
And it just, these franchises, it's almost like the expectation, the bar's been set. And Seattle kicked it up a notch last year. And isn't that great just to, we have so many teams now in the playoff mix at this time of year where it's basically the entire league's got a chance of making the playoffs.
Well, there are a number of teams that feel like they're in the playoffs right now. If you had a slow start, you know you've really got to step on the gas if you're going to make the playoffs. And when you refer to Vegas and Seattle, part of their competitiveness is the way we started them. And I don't think any league's ever given teams as strong a start in expansion as we did for those two teams. Because our competitive balance is so strong, the owners decided, why have one of these typical expansions in any sport where you give a mediocre or less team, the enthusiasm wears off in 3 or 4 years, and then 10 years out, the team finally gets competitive. We wanted teams to be competitive from day one, and these organizations have managed to do it, and that's a testament to them.
I think it's a great opportunity for players, too. The players that have to go to these cities that get taken in this expansion draft, it's a great opportunity for them to make their mark.
Oh.
Hey, speaking of starts, we saw this year, I thought it was an awesome job in Stockholm and Gothenburg. When you guys go over to Sweden, you had those games. Is there plans to continue to go over there, and there's different cities you announced?
You know, a third of our players, as you guys know, come from outside of North America.
Yeah.
They're some of the best, most skilled players in the world. We want to connect with the fans of hockey in those countries. We want to continue to see the growth of hockey, and we want to continue to see the development of world-class players in all those countries, like Sweden, like Finland, like Czechia, and have them come into our league, because the best players in the world come to play in the best hockey league in the world.
As long as we're talking about future plans, hockey fans everywhere want me to ask this question.
Really?
Any future
Did you take a poll?
plans regarding location? Every time you join us, I always think he'd be better at my job, and I can't do his.
Hardly. Because you're so good at it, it makes it easy for me to do what I do.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well, hockey fans get so excited about this game? Teams or location as you look down the road for the Winter Classic? Anything you can share?
You're looking for me to break news?
Oh, if you will.
Well, no. We're looking forward to the games at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, New York metropolitan area. We're going to have 2 games in, I guess, 36 hours. And it's less than 24 hours. And it's going to be sensational Saturday night with the Flyers playing the Devils and having the Jonas Brothers give a concert and then having the Islanders play the Rangers on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be great. Still a few tickets available, so I suggest people go online and get them now. Because we expect both games to be sold out.
Since we're in a ballpark, it seems only fitting to tell you the league has hit a home run again with the Winter Classic. Thank you.
That's quite an analogy. Thank you for the compliment.